In the last two lessons, we learned about the CAGED system and how it's the foundation of all fretboard knowledge. You know, how arpeggios, bar chords, triads, pentatonic scales, relative majors and minors, and modes all just kind of built upon one another, just one step at a time. And we also figured out how to make it not so overwhelming because, you know, it is so much stuff. And, you know, we did it in a systematic way that makes it a lot more approachable and easier to apply to the guitar just by knowing where two of the root notes are. Now, the last thing that I want to show you about CAGED for now is how to go between the shapes fluidly, how to easily play along the entire fretboard using all the stuff that CAGED entails. As usual, all these exercises, everything in this lesson, it's all available in a worksheet on my Patreon page. I'll put a link for that down below. And don't forget to grab your copy of my free ebook. It's completely free for all my subscribers. That's in the corner. Anyways, we're going to get started with this lesson. To do this, rather than try to connect them all at once, you just want to pick two shapes that are beside each other. C is right beside A is beside G is beside E, and so on. We're going to get started with C and A. They share the same root, doesn't matter what key you're in. We're doing this in the key of E. So I'm going to find E on the A string. That's the 7th fret. And on one side, I make my C shape. On the other side, I make my A shape. And we learned that in the last couple of lessons. We start out just playing our bar chords back and forth a few times, just getting used to that. You don't have to really be able to like pull it off cleanly, but just the idea of it. It's good to get your fingers into these positions because all the arpeggios and everything are going to require you to have your fingers like that, you know, the pentatonic scale, whatever it is. So from our bar shapes, we can move on to arpeggios. And those are really closely related to the two bar shapes, but instead of playing the notes all together, we're playing them individually. And this is the first thing that I want you to do to start connecting these shapes. We'll play the arpeggio up the C shape. So we started our root. And then when we get here, we're going to slide our index finger up to that 5th. And now we're at the top of the A shape. And we can just play our arpeggio down. And there's this note right here that we have to add to our A shape. So this note is just 4 frets higher than the root of our A shape. And then we get back to our root of the A shape, we go down, and then we slide here as low as we can go in our C shape and back up to our root. And then after that, instead of playing all the way to the top of the shape, just play a couple notes in. So I could maybe just go 1, 3, 5, and then here I'm going to slide up to where that would be in my A shape, and then come back down. So I'm just playing a little snippet of it and then moving up into the next position. And this is a lot more realistic. You know, this is the kind of stuff that you'd be doing when you're taking a solo. You know, unless you're Yngwie Malmsteen and you want to like play all these like crazy big sweep picking licks. You know, most people do little ones like this. Anyways, my point is you start your arpeggio and you just kind of stop on a different string each time. And then you figure out where you need to slide up to get into the next shape. And you could even do this at reverse. Like you could start at the top of the A shape and then slide into the C chord. And, you know, this will help you discover fingerings and realize like, oh, I should use this finger or whatever it is, right? And that's a huge thing. If you think of how many different combinations there are, but that's the kind of stuff that people do to master this. And you don't have to do them all. You just pick the ones that you gravitate towards, that work well with your fingers or that make the sounds that you like doing. The next thing that I want to take a look at are triads. And triads are closely related to arpeggios. They also use 1, 3, 5. Bar chords, arpeggios, triads. They're just 1, 3, 5. But we play them together in a little chord. And in the last lesson, we did them just on the C shape, ascending and descending. So we just played them in a single position. Now we're going to play the triads along the fretboard horizontally. And we'll start with just this one in the C shape, just the first 3 notes, 1, 3, 5. We take that and we slide it up into the A shape. So in the A shape, 3, 5, 1, you know, and I got that note from my arpeggio. That's why we learn the arpeggios first, because they inform us where the notes are with the triads. They add those missing notes. Anyways, I come back down, and those are my two triads from the C shape and the A shape. Then I would go to the next pair, or the next set. Right here, this is the first inversion, 3, 5, 1. And I go into the A shape. And then I would do that with the next one. So you just do it like 3 strings at a time, and this is going to help your visualizations of the arpeggios, of the bar chords, and of the triads. You know, when you work on any of these, you're really working on all of them. After that, we can move on to our pentatonic scale. And remember, like we learned in the last lesson, this is just like our arpeggio, but we're adding a couple more tones to it. And at first, we do it just like we did with arpeggios. We go up the C shape, and then we slide our index, and we descend through the A shape. I'll do that without talking. And then, once I do the whole thing, up one shape and down the other shape, you could do it in reverse. You know, you could start with the A shape first. Just explore the whole shape. Then I would do the same thing I did with the arpeggio, where I went up a little bit and then moved into the next shape. So. And I'm not a math guy, so I can't tell you exactly how many combinations there are, but it's like pretty limitless, you know, the different options that you have, picking when you're going to change strings and whether you're going to keep going up or whether you're going to come back down and how far back down you're going to go. This is one of those things where you just keep exploring it. Focus on a little bit and make the most of it. If you try to learn all the shapes at once and then go between all of them, you're going to spread yourself too thin and you're not going to be able to build up that muscle memory as easily. Anyways, that's the pentatonic scale, and we can do the exact same thing with our major scale. You know, we're just adding a couple more notes like we discussed in the last lesson. You go up and down between the two shapes. And then you pick a point somewhere between them where you go to the next shape and cross over between the shapes on a different string every time you do it, or every few times. And the cool thing about CAGED and about learning it like this in layers is that you're kind of just doing the same thing with each layer of it, and you can always come back to those same 2 bar chord shapes. Like when you feel like you're getting lost, you come back to those 2 shapes, and that's going to be your safe zone. You know, that's the beauty of this all. Anyways, I do all that stuff between C and A for a long time, over the course of many practice sessions. And then I would even try doing that with a jam track. You know, I'm just doing arpeggio stuff. I do some triads. Just have fun with it, you know. Pentatonic. Major and minor. Could superimpose using now the G shape and the E shape. this point, we've only covered the relationship between C and A. We still have to cover A to G, G to E, E to D, and then D back to C. We could even skip one, going from C directly to G, and going between those two shapes and so on. There's so many combinations here, and that's the kind of thing that I would like to do in a course. I have not yet made a course for the CAGED system, but if you'd like to see one, and if you think that would be what you need in order to help you figure this all out, please let me know. And if there's enough demand, I will start making that course. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. All the tab and everything that we did today is available in a worksheet on my Patreon page. Don't forget to grab your copy of my free ebooks. And while you're at it, you can even check out my courses page and see if any of those topics excite you. Finally, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my lessons and if you'd like to help support the channel and learn guitar with me. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.